This is the Mushaf as-Sawar, also known as the Book of Pictures. It is written by a very famous alchemist known as Zosimos of Panopolis. Zosimos, also known as Rusam by the Muslims, is a Gnostic alchemist whose works on alchemy, written wise, are the oldest works on alchemy to date. So, you're probably wondering, what are we doing with the Mushaf as-Sawar by Zosimos of Panopolis? Well, that's a pretty good question, you see. What we're going to be doing is this. We know that alchemy is one of the oldest forms of technology ever. It is the oldest form of chemistry, science, physics, and more. What if we were to take one of the oldest forms of technology and combine it with a new form of technology, such as AI tools? AI tools such as ChatGPT and also Google Gemini have taken the world by storm in terms of their technological advancement and usage. What if we were to give some pictures of the Mushaf as-Sawar or Book of Pictures to ChatGPT and Gemini and ask them for their interpretation and insight on what's going on in it? In this video, we will be asking Gemini and ChatGPT two distinct questions and also giving them two distinct photos in the Mushaf as-Sawar to interpret and give their insight on. The purpose of this video is to once again reconcile an old technological advancement with a very new one. This will be Techno Alchemy, where machine learning meets medieval manuscripts. Let's get started. The first question I'm going to ask ChatGPT is concerning Zosimos' accomplice in this book of pictures, Theosebia. On the right, the man with the beard is Zosimos, and on the left is Zosimos' accomplice, Theosebia. Theosebia seems to be like a spiritual accomplice or spirit guide for Zosimos. Here are some pictures of him and Theosebia together. When I was doing research on Theosebia, all I could find was the name of a Christian saint with the same name, Theosebia. So, mentioning this, I all in all asked ChatGPT this. In this picture book, there is an adventure between Zosimos and Theosebia. When I researched Theosebia, all I could find was the name of a Christian saint with the same name. What is your theories on Theosebia? And this is what ChatGPT said. Theosebia is indeed an enigmatic figure if considered within the context of Zosimos' Book of Pictures. Her appearance in this alchemical manuscript as a companion or participant in Zosimos' mystical journey invites speculation. Let's break this down and explore some theories. Number 1. Theosebia as a symbol of divine feminine energy. In alchemy, the union of opposites is a recurring theme, often symbolizing by the alchemical marriage. Zosimos' texts frequently explore the relationship between the material and spiritual, the masculine and feminine. Theosebia might represent the divine feminine counterpart to Zosimos' role as the seeker alchemist. She could embody Sophia, wisdom, a concept in Gnostic and alchemical traditions, guiding Zosimos through the mysteries of the great work. The name Theosebia, meaning divine worship or reverence for the divine in Greek, supports this interpretation. She might not be a literal figure, but rather a personification of spiritual wisdom essential for achieving enlightenment. Number 2. Theosebia as a historical inspiration. The Theosebia you found in Christian history is believed to have been the sister or possibly wife of Gregory of Nyssa. If Zosimos was aware of her, or if this was written after her lifetime, it's possible the alchemical Theosebia was loosely inspired by her. Gregory himself was deeply philosophical, and the intellectual climate of the time saw many intersections between early Christian mysticism, Platonic thought, and esoteric traditions like alchemy. It could be thought that Theosebia was reimagined in an alchemical context as a sage or teacher, providing Zosimos with moral or philosophical guidance. 3. Theosebia as a guide in the inner journey. Zosimos' texts often reflect intense inner visions and transformative experiences. Theosebia might symbolize an aspect of Zosimos' psyche, a projection of his anima or inner feminine principle. In Jungian terms, she could represent the alchemist's connection to his own intuitive, creative, and emotional self, helping him navigate the trials of spiritual alchemy. In the Book of Pictures, she may act as a dream guide, similar to Virgil for Dante in the Divine Comedy. Her role would be to illuminate and obscure passages and provide insight during moments of doubt. Theosebia, number 4. Theosebia as a counterbalance to Zosimos. If Theosebia is indeed a separate, active participant in a narrative, she might serve as a counterweight to Zosimos' character, challenging, balancing, and deepening his understanding of alchemy. This dynamic could reflect the importance of collaboration and duality in the alchemical process. The male and female principles in alchemy are often represented as sulfur and mercury. Their interplay is essential for creating the philosopher's stone. Theosebia's presence might indicate her vital role in Zosimos' journey towards spiritual wholeness. Number 5. A mistranslation or a lost tradition. It is possible that Theosebia is a figure whose deeper significance has been obscured over time, either through mistranslation or the loss of certain Gnostic or alchemical traditions. Perhaps she was a known symbol or of a person in early alchemy, but became conflated with other figures, such as Saint Theosebia. Over centuries, manuscripts often blend historical, symbolic, and mystical elements, leaving us to piece together their meaning from fragmented sources. Conclusion. Theosebia and the Book of Pictures seems rich with symbolic potential. Whether she represents divine wisdom, the feminine counterpart in the alchemical process, a guide through spiritual transformation, or even a reimagined historical figure, her presence enhances the mystical, philosophical depth of Zosimos' journey. If you're writing a story about this, you could lean into her ambiguity. Perhaps she is all of the things, mentor, reflection, symbol, and enigma. This multi-layered approach would resonate well with the esoteric themes of Zosimos' work. Would you like to brainstorm further about her character or narrative role? The next question will be going to Google Gemini, and it will be concerning the repeat sun and moon symbolism in this book. Let's see what Google Gemini's insights are on why there's so much sun and moon symbolism in the Musaf as-Sawar. So, this was Google Gemini's response to my question. The abundance of sun and moon symbolism in the Musaf as-Sawar can be attributed to several interconnected reasons. Number 1, alchemical significance. Metals and transformation. In alchemy, the sun and moon were often associated with gold and silver, respectively. These metals were seen as the ultimate goals for the alchemical process, representing perfection and spiritual enlightenment. Dualities and balance. The sun and moon symbolize the complementary forces of masculine and feminine, active and passive, conscious and unconscious. Alchemists sought to harmonize these opposites within themselves and their work. Number 2, cosmic and spiritual symbolism. Divine energies. The sun and moon were revered as both celestial bodies representing divine power and cosmic order. They were seen as sources of light, life, and spiritual illumination. Cycles of nature. The cyclical nature of the sun and moon mirrored the cyclical process of life, death, and rebirth, which were central themes in alchemical thought. Number 3, Hermetic philosophy. Correspondence principle. Hermetic philosophy, which influenced alchemy, posts that as above, so below. This principle suggests that the macrocosm, the universe, reflects the microcosm, the human being. Thus, the sun and moon as celestial bodies were seen as symbols of the higher self and the soul. 4. Visual language. Evocative imagery. The sun and moon are visually striking and easily recognizable symbols. Their use in alchemical texts and illustrations serve to convey complex ideas in a concise and powerful way. Mystery and esotericism. The enigmatic nature of the alchemical symbolism, including the sun and moon, added to its allure and mystique, making it a subject of fascination for initiates and seekers of knowledge. By understanding the multifaceted symbolism of the sun and the moon in the Musaf as-Sawar, we can gain deeper insights into the philosophical, spiritual, and scientific aspirations of early alchemists. So, moving on to the next question I'm going to ask ChatGPT. What do you think Zosimos' intentions were behind making the Musafa Suwar? So, here was the answer that ChatGPT generated in response to my question. Number 1. Transmitting alchemical wisdom beyond words. The Book of Pictures suggests that Zosimos was attempting to convey alchemical knowledge and spiritual truths in a way that transcended language. Alchemy, being a deeply esoteric practice, often relied on symbols and images to communicate truths that were otherwise ineffable. The images may have been intended to serve as meditative tools for practitioners to unlock deeper meanings through contemplation, offer layered meanings that reveal different truths depending on the viewer's spiritual and intellectual level. By creating this visual text, Zosimos may have been encoding alchemical processes like purification, transformation, and union in a manner accessible to those with the requisite knowledge. Guiding spiritual transformation. Zosimos' works often blend the physical process of alchemy with the spiritual ascent and inner purification. The Musafa Sawar likely serves as a guidebook for spiritual seekers, illustrating the trials, sacrifices, and revelations required to achieve enlightenment. The images in this text could represent archetypal signs of the great work, archetypal stages of the great work, inner visions experienced during the alchemical journey, including symbolic death, resurrection, and unification with the divine. Zosimos may have intended the manuscript to function as a roadmap for achieving the alchemical goal of gnosis, self-knowledge, and unity with the divine. Preserving esoteric knowledge. In the late antiquity of Zosimos' time, esoteric knowledge faced significant threats from political and religious changes, particularly the rise of Christianity, which often views alchemical and Gnostic traditions with suspicion. By creating an illustrated manuscript, Zosimos could have been encrypting this knowledge, preserving it for those who could decode its imagery. The Musafa Sawar may reflect Zosimos' awareness of the need to safeguard alchemy's sacred teachings in a period of cultural and intellectual upheaval. Exploring the union of material and spiritual. Zosimos' alchemy is deeply rooted in the idea that the physical and spiritual worlds are interconnected. The images in the Book of Pictures may have been intended to illustrate the interplay between matter and spirit, symbolized through anthropomorphic figures, celestial beings, and abstract designs. Depict the alchemist's dual role as both a scientist of matter and a priest of a divine, uniting earthly and heavenly wisdom. In this sense, the Musafa Sawar is not just a practical guide for chemical transformations, but a manifesto of cosmic unity. Number 5. Capturing mystical visions. Zosimos is known for his vivid and often surreal visions, described in such texts as the Visions of Zosimos. These visions, filled with symbolic figures and metaphysical themes, often dramatize the alchemical process as a spiritual struggle. The Book of Pictures might be an attempt to preserve and share these visions in a visual form, making them more immediate and impactful to this audience. Inspire practitioners to seek their own mystical experience and connect with the divine. It's possible that Zosimos believed these visions were universal archetypes or divine revelations, meant to guide others towards transformation. Number 6. Teaching through layered symbolism. The use of visual storytelling allowed Zosimos to engage a broad range of intellectual and spiritual levels. Some viewers might interpret the images literally, while others could decipher their deeper allegorical meanings. By designing the Musafa Sawar this way, Zosimos could reach both novices and advanced practitioners of alchemy. Encourage an active interpretive engagement with his teachings, as understanding the imagery required both study and contemplation. The method mirrors the broader alchemical tradition, where secret knowledge is intentionally obscured, requiring dedication and insight to uncover. Creating a ritual object. The Book of Pictures may have also served as a ritual or initiatory text used in the context of alchemical or Gnostic rites. Its images could have been visual aids for meditation or visualizations during spiritual practices, tools for initiation, with each image symbolizing a stage or mystery the initiate must internalize. This would align with the performative and ceremonial aspects of alchemy as a sacred art. Number 8, and finally, engaging the eternal question of transformation. At its core, the Musafa Sawar might reflect Zosimos' obsession with the question that all alchemists sought to answer. How can the base be transmuted into something pure and divine. The images could have been Zosimos' way of engaging this question in a more universal artistic medium, offering answers not in definitive words but through symbolic exploration. Conclusion. If Theosebia is present in this narrative, she might represent a counterpart to Zosimos, either a real collaborator or a symbolic reflection of the divine feminine necessary for the marriage. Together, they would traverse the trials depicted in the image, illustrating the alchemical journey as a union of opposites and a pursuit of divine harmony. Zosimos' Mustafa Sawar likely reflects his desire to immortalize these truths for future seekers, providing them with both inspiration and a challenge to uncover secrets of transformation for themselves. Moving on to the final question, I'll ask Google Gemini. What is the meaning of the hand signs that are in the Mustafa Sawar, such as the Prithvi Mudra and the Root Chakra Mudra? So, this was the question I prompted it. I noticed there's abundance of mudras, hand gestures, in the Mustafa Sawar. Any speculation on what they could symbolize? The presence of mudras in the Mustafa Sawar is intriguing, as it suggests a connection between alchemical practices and symbolic gestures found in other traditions. While there is no definitive interpretation of these mudras within the context of Zosimos' work, we can speculate on their potential significance based on their broader usage in various cultures and spiritual practices. Possible interpretations of mudras in the Mustafa Sawar. Energy manipulation and focus. Mudras are often used in yoga and meditation to channel and direct energy flow within the body. In the context of alchemy, they may have been employed to focus the mind and enhance practitioners' connection with the alchemical process. Certain hand positions could have been believed to stimulate specific energy centers, chakras, or activate specific particular qualities, such as a concentration, intuition, or healing. Number 2. Symbolic representation of alchemical processes. Mudras could have been used to visually represent the stages of alchemical processes, from the initial separation of elements to the final stage of unification. Specific hand gestures might correspond to the various operations involved in alchemy, such as calcination, dissolution, distillation, and coagulation. Number 3. Connection to Hermetic and Gnostic traditions. Hermeticism and Gnosticism, which influenced alchemical thought, often incorporated symbolic gestures and hand signs in their rituals and teachings. These traditions emphasize the power of the human body as a microcosm of the universe, and mudras may have been seen as a way to activate latent spiritual potential. Number 4. Esoteric communion and secrecy. In ancient times, esoteric knowledge was often transmitted through secret symbols and codes. Mudras could have served as a visual language for alchemists to communicate with each other without revealing the secrets of the craft to the outsiders. It's important to note that these are just speculations, and the true meaning of the mudras and the Mustafa Sawar may remain elusive. Further research and interpretation of the text, along with a deeper understanding of ancient symbolism and esoteric practices, may shed more light on this fascinating aspect of alchemical tradition. Now, moving on to the first photo I'll show ChatGPT. Observe the following picture. The following picture is two Theosebias standing above Zosimos, and Zosimos is holding both their legs with both of his hands. I'm going to ask ChatGPT what they think of this photo and see if I can get any insight on it. So, here's a better view of the photo I posted right here. And this is the prompt that I asked ChatGPT. Here's a picture from the Mus'haf itself. A picture of two Theosebia standing above Zosimos as he's holding both their legs with both his hands. Could you speculate what is going on in the photo? Why are there two Theosebias and why are they above him? Two Theosebias, duality and unity. The presence of two figures that represent Theosebia could symbolize dual aspects of a divine feminine or sacred wisdom. This duality may signify alchemical oppositions. In alchemy, the union of opposites is a central theme. The two Theosebias might represent complementary forces, such as the active and passive, the spiritual and material, or the solar and lunar principles. The split soul or archetype. Theosebia could embody an archetype of Sophia, divine wisdom, split into dual aspects to illustrate a fragmented yet ultimately unified divine essence. Reflections of inner and outer wisdom. They may signify two facets of Zosimos' journey, inner self-knowledge and external wisdom gained through interaction with the world. Their elevated position above Zosimos suggests that they represent higher transcendent forces he seeks to connect with. Why are they above him? Divine guidance or authority. Their placement above Zosimos implies spiritual superiority or transcendence. As spiritual guides, they might symbolize the heights he aspires to reach in his alchemical or mystical quest. Hierarchical structure. In many mystical and alchemical works, the adept Zosimos is depicted as being below higher powers or principles, emphasizing the need for submission and alignment with divine will to achieve transformation. Alchemical process. In alchemical imagery, higher realms often represent purified states of matter and spirit. The two figures could symbolize spirit realms or energies descending into Zosimos' grasp for integration or transformation. Zosimos holding their legs. Zosimos' act of holding their legs could represent several ideas. Support or grounding. He acts as a bridge between the transcendent, the two Theosebias, and the material world. By holding their legs, he symbolically grounds their divine energy into the earthly plane, receiving or drawing power. His gesture might indicate that he is actively drawing wisdom, guidance, or spiritual power from the higher realm represented by the two figures. Submission or devotion. The posture could signify humility and dependence, portraying Zosimos as a seeker. Now I will show Gemini a picture. Observe the following photo. The following photo is a picture of a man laying dead, golden with stripes and 7 stars. Let's see what Google Gemini thinks about this photo. So, this is what I ended up asking Google Gemini. Here's a photo from the Mustafa Suwar from Zosimos. It is a picture of a man lying down with golden colors and red stripes and 7 stars. What do you think the gold could represent alongside the 7 stars? Why do you think 1 star is above the rest? The gold, purity and divinity. Gold has been associated with purity, divinity, and the spiritual realm for centuries across various cultures. In this context, the gold could symbolize the spiritual or divine nature of the figure depicted. Immortality. Gold could also represent immortality and eternal life. This could allude to the figure's significance beyond the mortal realm. Royalty and power. Gold is also often associated with wealth, power, and royalty. This could suggest the figure's position of authority of importance. The 7 stars. Constellations. 7 stars could represent a specific constellation such as the Big Dipper or Pleiades. These constellations have been used for navigation and spiritual purposes for millennia. Mystical significance. The number 7 holds mystical significance in many cultures. It is often associated with perfection, completeness, and the 7 heavens in some religious traditions. Zodiac signs. The 7 stars could also represent the 7 visible planets in ancient astrology. These planets were believed to influence human affairs in the natural world. The position of the star above the rest. Leadership. The star position above the others could symbolize leadership, guidance, or a higher power. Spiritual significance. It might represent a connection to a higher spiritual realm or divine entity. Overall interpretation. Without more context about the specific text or historical period, it is difficult to provide a definitive interpretation. However, based on the symbolism of gold and the 7 stars, the image likely conveys a message related to spirituality, divinity, power, and perhaps even a connection to the cosmos. It could be depicting a religious figure, a ruler, or mythological being. The gold and the stars might signify their divine nature, authority, and connection to the heavens. And now the final image I'll show ChatGPT. Observe the following photo. This is a photo of a multicolored tree and Zosimos and another man on the other side of it. I'll be asking ChatGPT what this means. So, here's what I prompted ChatGPT. I said, it is a tree that's right side is red, left side is purple, and middle side is white. What do you think this could symbolize and mean? Why the color symbolism, and why do you think Zosimos is observing the tree? The tree is a symbol. In mystical and alchemical traditions, the tree often represents the axis mundi, world tree, a connection between the earthly and divine realms, the central pillar of spiritual ascent linking the physical and metaphysical worlds, the tree of life or knowledge, a source of wisdom often divided into stages or levels of enlightenment, a metaphor for the alchemical process of transformation and unity. Color symbolism, red, right side, alchemical red stage, rubido, the culmination of the great work symbolizing enlightenment, spirituality, and perfection, associated with fire, blood, life force, or the masculine principle. Purple, left side. Purple often signifies mystery, tradition, or the blending of opposites, red and blue. It could represent the intermediate phase of alchemy or the spiritual process, balancing earthly and divine aspects. Alternatively, it might symbolize spiritual royalty, sovereignty, or the divine mystery. White, center. Alchemical white stage, albedo. The phase of purification and spiritual illumination, often preceding the final red stage, represents purity, balance, and divine potential. The placement of white in the center suggests that it serves as the unifying axis, the core from which the dualities extend. The tree's structure, triadic nature. The three branches colors suggest a triadic framework, often central to alchemical and mystical systems: body, soul, and spirit, earthly, intermediary, and divine realms, black, albedo, and rubedo. And the vertical growth of the tree may symbolize the progression or ascent through these stages, with Zosimos observing to understand its structure and secrets. Why Zosimos observes the tree? As a symbol of the magnum opus. The tree embodies the stages of spiritual and alchemical transformation. Zosimos observes it to glean insight into the process of harmonizing oppositions and achieving enlightenment. The tree as a mirror. The tree could symbolize Zosimos himself or the journey he must undertake: purification, transition, and completion. A revelation of nature's laws. The tree may symbolize universal principles as Zosimos seeks to decode, reflecting his fascination with nature as a guide for spiritual alchemy. Guidance for alchemical practice. Zosimos may study the tree as a representation of the philosopher's stone or divine elixir, observing how its colors and structures reveal the path to transformation. Why the colors are divided. The division of colors into three parts highlights duality and synthesis. The white center represents balance, the axis where opposites meet and unify. The image likely depicts a symbolic map of Zosimos' quest for enlightenment and divine union. The tree reflects the stages of spiritual and alchemical work, with its colors and triadic structures serving as a guide. The act of observing it indicates his contemplative approach, seeking to understand and harmonize the cosmic forces it represents. And now the final question I'll ask Google Gemini. Observe the following photo. The following photo is of Zosimos and Theosebia. While Theosebia seems to be chaining up or attacking a snake-like figure. I'm going to ask Google Gemini what this means. So, this is the question that I asked Google Gemini. I asked, why the green and yellow symbolism? What's with the purple? And what do you think the figure with the snake-like objects coming out of them being chained up by Theosebia means? The image appears to depict a scene of religious or spiritual significance. It seems to involve a figure being held or presented by a group of individuals. The background suggests a celestial or heavenly setting. Green and yellow. Green is often associated with life, growth, and the natural world. It could represent the earth, fertility, or the divine. Yellow can symbolize wisdom, enlightenment, and the sun. It might represent a higher power or divine knowledge. Purple is associated with royal power and spirituality. It could represent the authority or divine status of the figure being presented. This figure, chained with snake-like objects, could symbolize a fallen being, a demon, or negative force. The chains might represent their imprisonment or subjugation. The snake-like objects could be associated with temptation, deceit, or the lower self. Without more context, it's difficult to pinpoint the exact narrative depicted. However, based on the symbolism and the presence of Theosebia, here are some possible interpretations. Gnostic theme. The figure being presented here could be a Gnostic savior or redeemable figure, perhaps related to the concept of the perfect human or the spiritual self. Theosebia's presence might indicate that the figure is being presented for divine wisdom or initiation. The chained figure could represent a lower self or material world which needs to be overcome for spiritual liberation. Religious ritual. The scene could depict a religious or spiritual ritual where a sacred object or figure is being presented to a higher power. The green and yellow could symbolize the earthly and divine realms, while the purple could represent the sacredness of the ritual. Mythological story. The image could be a visual representation of a myth or legend, perhaps involving a divine being and a fallen figure. Additional considerations. The text and context of the Musaf as-Sawar would provide more clues about the specific meaning and narrative of the image. Gnostic texts and imagery often feature symbolic representations of spiritual concepts and battles between good and evil. And there you have it, guys. This has been the Techno Alchemy video. This is the 6th upload on the Ikhwanas Dahab channel, also known as the Brethren of Gold. If you guys like the content that you see, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I know this video was very long. It was more than half an hour, and I know my videos are usually 10 to 20 minutes. But I feel confident that this video will do well and that this video will reach a wide variety of audiences, because I know that artificial intelligence and AI tools, especially ChatGPT and Gemini, are very huge right now, and they're very, very prominent in the social media game. So I thought I would combine one of my favorite topics alongside, alongside alchemy. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the Ikhwan Astahab, and peace out.